The East African Sustainability Watch Network, through its network partners Sustainable Environmental Development Network Saswatch Kenya, Tanzania Coalition for Sustainable Development TCSD, and Uganda Coalition for Sustainable Development UCSD, is currently implementing a 3-year Lake Victoria Environment Management Project Phase 2, also known as LVEMP II Civil Society Watch Project. LVEMP II is an East African community project under implementation in the 5 member countries that share the Lake Victoria Basin, namely Burundi, Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania, and Uganda. This documentary is a showcase of how communities perceive the changes in their livelihoods and environment as a result of LVEMP II project implementation in the selected sub-catchment area of River Nyando in Kenya, River Simiyu in Tanzania, and River Katonga in Uganda, arising from the community-driven development sub-projects that aim at reducing non-point sources of pollution into Lake Victoria. Water from the 3 rivers in the selected sub-catchment area flow into Lake Victoria, the world's second-largest body of fresh water and the largest in the developing world. The lake is a major source of food, particularly fish, both for local consumption and the export market. It provides water transport and is the main source of water for both domestic and industrial consumption. Problems that affect Lake Victoria catchment region include soil erosion, pollution, and eutrophication arising from increased inflow of nutrients that favor the growth of plant materials, including the invasive water hyacinth. In addition, there is encroachment on sources of water through traits of subsistence agricultural activity comprising of crop farming and uncontrolled livestock rearing. At times, the region encounters severe drought periods caused by lack of rainfall and bush burning that exposes the soil, while poor agricultural practices, including digging on the restricted riverbank and lakeshore margins, leads to siltation.
When we look at this garden where I'm standing, we are within 100 meters. That would be a restricted zone for buffering the lake. Nationally, the ridge system, which is a catchment for this system, falls under major rivers, which is a 100-meter zone buffer as per the law.
Similar situations were observed at Lake Wamala in Uganda's Katonga River subcatchment. Community members believe the water level is declining due to cultivation on the lakeland margins. We gradually started cultivation on the lake margin. Where I am standing now was formerly part of the lake. Yams, cassava, and bananas are some of the crops that have been cultivated on this lakeland margin. Besides poor agricultural practices, in Uganda, some community members are draining wetland catchment areas by making and burning bricks. Water is progressively drained, and eventually land is left bare and exposed to soil erosion.
Some wetlands have been cultivated by communities themselves, also to provide livelihood. And above all, siltation due to cultivation along the lake shore has also created pollution to the lake.
Despite the challenge, the communities, through their community-driven development projects, CDDs, have responded by undertaking tree planting interventions.
Part of the objective that the group was to carry out was to plant trees along River Oroba bank. This river had a lot of human activities which resulted in deforestation of the river bank. Memegro CBO has endeavored to raise the tree nursery. They have raised about 10,000 tree seedlings. Currently, they are in the process of preparing seedbed for another 10,000 to make it 20.
This mixed eucalyptus and pine forest plantation belongs to Nyanga Kentale Group, based in Rakai District. Although the group is expecting to get its inaugural fund installment from LVEMP II project, they have made leverages from previous funded projects to fulfill the initial requirements for accessing LVEMP II project funds. Besides afforestation, the group is equally promoting the use of energy-saving cooking stoves as a mechanism of reducing pressure on tree cover depletion, since the majority of the population depend on wood biomass for their fuel energy requirements.
Ba group members olwokuba nti project bwe tuddukanye eza group ate nabo bagenda.
Individual group members have replicated tree growing as a result of the group activities. They have also planted coffee alongside other tree varieties in their own gardens. This has helped to protect both the soil and maintain its fertility.
In Masaka district, prospective LVEMP II community demand-driven project beneficiaries have started beekeeping projects both as a way of preserving the environment as well as earning income to meet their livelihoods requirements.
Normally, beekeepers are environmentally friendly. We do not indiscriminately cut trees. We highly value trees. Without plant flowers that bees visit to get nectar, we will not be able to harvest honey. In the same way, beekeepers do not degrade wetlands because bees need water. Beekeeping is a good practice for us to conserve our wetland resources.
The beneficiaries have taken a step forward by taking the tree planting intervention in schools. The objective is to encourage participation of school children to foster awareness raising and community ownership for this project.
Right now we are at Umbei Secondary School where we planted trees. We planted crotons, we planted evergreen, and by the time we have not planted these trees, the condition of the school actually was a little bit without shade, a little bit without proper defense when it comes to wind. The wind could come and flow off the roofs, but now it is a little bit all right.
Now, since the introduction of tree planting project, the students have really participated in maintaining the trees, watering them, and weeding them. Also, students have managed to apply that in their homes in planting of trees.
Using support from LVEMP II, Lumegi Community Group found in Magu District in Tanzania has adopted sustainable agriculture practices, in particular promoting soil and water conservation measures. Paul Yanongu, the chairperson of this group, explains the benefits derived from adoption of soil and water conservation practices.
Tulifundishwa kuhifadhi udongo kwa masolo na kuhifadhi kwa kulima kwa makinga maji. Zote zile njia mbili tulianza kujifunza na tukafahamu tukaanza utekelezaji.
We were trained in the use of terraces as a soil and water conservation measure. We have benefited tremendously from this good practice. Our yields have increased from 3 to 4 bags to 8 bags of agricultural produce. Besides, we are now able to practice soil and water conservation.
Kilistina William, a member of the group, is upbeat over the changes that her group has experienced since the adoption of soil and water conservation practices.
Na mazao tukawa tunapata mengi ya kutosha, lakini wale ambao hawakutumia haya masolo, chakula chao ni tofauti na cha wale tuliowaelimisha kutengeneza haya masolo.
We now have bumper harvest, as opposed to our counterparts who did not take up the practice of terracing. The catchment area reveals existing challenges with regard to water supply and sanitation encountered by communities in the respective project area. Lake Victoria and surrounding rivers remain to be the major source of water for both human and livestock utilization. This is part of River Nyando and Oraba, found in Nyando and Muhoroni districts respectively. Basing on the brown color of the water, it is vivid that it contains soil sediments arising out of soil erosion. Despite this, communities living in the surrounding area largely depend on this unprotected source of water for their domestic consumption requirements. In response, using support from LVEMP II project, the community-driven development project beneficiaries are establishing water harvesting technologies to minimize the shortage of clean water as well as reducing time spent on water collection. This component covers digging shallow wells, sinking boreholes, and rainwater harvesting. Overall, there is a positive improvement, particularly for women and girls who are directly involved in water collection among many households in the Nyando River Basin. However, some household members continue to walk over 2 kilometers to get this precious commodity, a situation that can partly be explained by the drastic weather changes or climate change, especially drought with the resultant reduced water volumes and quality. This borehole was sunk by Ondisore Kagola Women Group with support from LVEMP II project. Erka Anyango Marege, one of the beneficiaries, explains how this intervention has transformed her livelihood. This is my garden. In it, I cultivate cabbage, bananas, and cassava. I have water nearby, and I water my garden regularly. I am pleased because I am able to sell the produce and get money. The group has enacted bylaws that govern and guide the operation of this important source of water. Like the case of Ondisore Group, beneficiaries elsewhere in Nyando, Simiyu, and Katonga River catchment areas have enacted bylaws and formed management committees to ensure proper and sustainable use of LVEMP II CDD Sub projects.
They've made laws that govern how the members will be using the water. There's a roster that has been made so that each and every day there's a particular member who clears or clean up the water side. They also make rules regarding how they will be planting the vegetables near the water side. So each and every member of this water project pays 20 shillings every month. It will be used for the projects like the vegetable project. Like there, they purchase the seeds for the cowpeas. They use the money, and after they'll start harvesting the vegetables, then they will sell. So that money will be taken into account.
Beneficiaries in the respective river catchment area have provided contribution in terms of labor, cash and security, as well as political support for established projects.
This money you are getting should be put to use to add more capacity into production, so that by the time the project comes to an end, then we're already having a community which has been elevated from poverty.
Rainwater harvested from households' rooftops is gaining prominence in the respective river catchment area. Bukanaga Orange Growers Association Boga, a prospective beneficiary for LVEMP II project funds, is already exploring the potential of rainwater harvesting by motivating individual members to start this good water conservation practice. One group member has installed a water harvesting system, and it's for a similar system that we have proposed to be supported by LVEMP II. It will help us to conserve our environment, especially by stopping encroachment on lakeland margins. Another interesting and striking water harvesting technology is the Oyani Water Pan sub-project of Uwemacho Group, based in Kakola location in Nyando district. The newly dug water pan, constructed using community labor, is expected to fill up in the next rainy season. This is a potential climatic change intervention that is intended to mitigate both the adverse effects of water flooding as well as effects arising out of extreme drought conditions. Hezekiah Opar, the secretary of Uwemacho Group, explains the rationale for this project.
Yeah, this water pan, we expected that 1,500 people will depend on it after completion. So we are happy because now even if it floods now, we don't need to worry. We'll not migrate to higher grounds. We'll just collect our water there, then we use it for domestic use. We are very happy and we are now comfortable. We are not afraid of flood. And also, flood that has been a tragedy this time, now it will be a fortune. We are very happy about it.
Nyathi Biro support group funded by LVEMP II has also established a water pan project. Water from this project is expected to be utilized in irrigation of green vegetables that will be planted in the greenhouse sub-project that is currently under construction.
We chose it as an income-generating activity because along here we were doing farming, horticulture. So we decided that this greenhouse can give us tomatoes of high value.
Fish farming is one of the recommended good practices for water conservation. This is a fishing project for Livelihood II Aquaculture and Environmental Conservation Project in Katonga River catchment area.
We decided to start a fish farming project after training by LVEMP II. The idea was to ensure sustainable use of wetland resources. So far, we constructed 14 fish ponds as we await LVEMP II funding.
The LVEMP II project-supported catchment area is still grappling with challenges associated with poor hygiene and sanitation. At this landing site, communities still prefer to dry silverfish, locally known as mukene, on bare and hygienic ground, as opposed to utilization of drying racks that were provided during the implementation of LVEMP I project. Decent and hygienic toilet coverage in the area is still wanting. Some communities in the catchment area, particularly near the water shoreline, continue to utilize poor open space toilets that are only covered with wood platform like this one. In other areas, the conditions of the toilet are terrible. Although some have covered walls made out of a variety of materials, they are a potential threat to health, safety, and hygiene. Solid waste management in the catchment area, in particular polythene material, is a challenging issue. Waste Plastic to Economic Wealth, WAPIWE, is a prospective LVEMP II community-driven development project that is creating employment for a source of income, as well as preventing and addressing the effects of polythene waste on the environment.
Our members mobilized the small money that we started to start buying these materials here. And we've also partnered with Coca-Cola that fenced our premises, as well as giving us a banner. They also gave us the bicycles, which we gave